Hey guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. This is your host Thomas Tyree from On the High Podcast. Today, this is going to be episode 16 of the Combat series. Of course, this episode is going to be coming out on all four of our platforms: our Instagram account, our Facebook account, our YouTube account, and our Apple Podcast account. So let's go ahead and dive into episode 16 of the Combat series, starting off the episode by sharing my thoughts on this weekend's fight in the sport of boxing between Canelo Alvarez and Jermell Charlo. So this fight has all the has all the makings of an instant classic. This could potentially be the biggest fight in the sport of boxing, the best fight potentially in the sport of boxing in the calendar year 2023. This weekend, for the first time ever in men's boxing history, we will be witnessing two reigning, defending, undisputed world champions in two separate weight classes fighting each other in the same boxing ring, as the two are both undisputed champions in their respective weight classes. Canelo Alvarez at 168 pounds and Jermell Charlo at 154 pounds. So Canelo Alvarez will be defending his super middleweight titles, all four of his undisputed titles: the WBC, the WBO, the IBF, and the WBA world titles, against the reigning, defending, undisputed champion at the super welterweight division at 154 pounds, Jermell Charlo. This is going to be a big fight. These are my storylines heading into this fight. This will be the first of three fights for Canelo Alvarez in his new deal signed with the PBC and Showtime Boxing. So this is his first fight up after signing that new shiny deal earlier in the calendar year 2023. And his last two fights, he successfully defended his super middleweight titles against Triple G, completing the trilogy by defeating Triple G by a unanimous decision last year, September 2022. You fast forward to that, his latest title defense is when he fought on Cinco de Mayo weekend, when he defeated John Ryder in his homecoming and his fighting in his country of Mexico, when he successfully retained the undisputed titles at the super middleweight division, defeating John Ryder. So, and then this is my storyline for Jermell Charlo. Jermell Charlo is the reigning, defending super welterweight champion in the sport of boxing. He'll be returning to the boxing ring for the first time in 2023. He has been sidelined the whole entire calendar year 2023 with a hand/wrist injury, which has sidelined him for the majority of 2023. So this will be his first fight since May of 2022. The last time we saw Jermell Charlo in a boxing ring, he did become the undisputed champion at the super welterweight division, defeating Brian Castano by knockout to become the new undisputed champion at the super welterweight division. And this is going to be interesting because Jermell Charlo is looking to become the second man in men's boxing history to becoming undisputed champion at two different weight classes. We just saw history being made. The first male boxer to do that was Terrence Crawford when he became a two-time undisputed champion in two separate weight classes this summer, when he became the undisputed welterweight champion in the sport of boxing. Now Jermell Charlo is looking to become, in the history books, to become the second man in boxing history to do that, become an undisputed champion in two different weight classes. And the biggest storyline to me here, before I get into my tail of the tape, this has to be the biggest storyline for this fight, because Jermell Charlo is looking to climb up not one, but two weight classes, daring himself to be great, to fight one of the best fighters in the sport today in Canelo Alvarez. He's making the jump up from 154 pounds all the way to 168 pounds. That's a 14-pound weight difference, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Jermell Charlo has never fought at this weight before. Could this weight be an issue for him? I'll get into that later on as this segment goes on, but those are my biggest storylines heading into this fight. And this is my tail of the tape. Canelo Alvarez is currently 59. He has 59 wins, 2 losses, and 2 draws to his legendary resume. He has 39 wins coming away of knockout. He's a 4-division world champion, currently the reigning, defending, undisputed champion in the super middleweight division, holding the WBO, WBC, IBF, and WBA world titles at the super middleweight division. He currently stands at 5'8" and has a reach advantage of 70 inches. Then you look at Jermell Charlo. Jermell Charlo has a record of 35 wins, 1 loss, and 1 draw to his resume. He has a total of 19 wins coming away of knockout. He's currently the undisputed super welterweight champion in the sport of boxing. He stands at 5'11" and has a reach advantage of 74 inches. So the height and the reach advantage goes to the challenger Jermell Charlo heading into this fight. Now, obviously, I didn't say the weight because at the time I'm recording this video, they have not done the weigh-in. So that's my tale for the tape heading into this fight. So these are the game plans I put together for the following fighters. If they want to walk out of Las Vegas, Nevada with bragging rights, walk away out of Las Vegas or Nevada, out of that T-Mobile Arena, the undisputed champion in the super middleweight division. So these are my game plan. This is my game plan for Jermell Charlo if he wants to be successful Saturday night defeating Canelo Alvarez. Jermell Charlo has to start off fast. If Jermell Charlo starts off fast, he could be up on the scorecards big. It could be too little too late for Canelo Alvarez to rally back in favor of winning the fight via the judges. If Jermell Charlo gets up early on the scorecards, he has to go fast-paced from round 1 all the way until this fight ends. I do believe that Derek James, reigning boxer trainer of the year in the calendar year 2022, will have Jermell Charlo very prepared for this fight. And I think he has to start fast and avoid being knocked out in the later rounds in order to win this fight by decision. And second game plan, Jermell Charlo has to pop that jab, because I do believe if he gets that jab game going, popping the jab early in early rounds and creates distance throughout the fight, that can also lead him to being up on the judges' scorecards, controlling the pace of this fight. And a reason why I said Jermell Charlo should be popping the jab is because there's a fighter that just fought Canelo Alvarez not too long ago, and Dimitri Bivol, who had a lot of success popping the jab, throwing a stiff jab to Canelo Alvarez, slowing down his momentum, and it made Canelo Alvarez not try to walk down Dimitri Bivol in that showdown. It really frustrated Canelo Alvarez throughout the fight because Dimitri Bivol was finding so much success popping that jab and creating a range to the point where Canelo Alvarez can no longer control the fight. I think that's what Jermell Charlo has to do in order to be successful on Saturday night. Pop that jab and create the distance away from Canelo Alvarez. And then last but not least, land body shots on Canelo Alvarez. Solid body shots, because Jermell Charlo packs a punch. He's a power puncher as well, just like Canelo Alvarez. If he starts landing shots to the body, it could slow down Canelo Alvarez's momentum. It could slow him down and make him hesitate twice if he's hurt, coming into the pocket and fighting inside, making Canelo Alvarez fight in the inside and inside the pocket if he hurts Canelo Alvarez to the body. And it could slow down his speed, slow down his movement if he starts landing a significant amount of body shots. So that's a game plan that I do believe that Jermell Charlo should follow for this weekend's fight. Now on to Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez has to apply pressure and cut off the ring. This is Canelo Alvarez's bread and butter. If you guys watch and dissect every fight that Canelo Alvarez has, he applies pressure and starts cutting off the ring, making sure his opponents don't know what to do next, making sure his opponents are very uncomfortable in that boxing ring. When you only have your opponent on half of the boxing ring and you're walking towards them, you have the boxer that's doing that has a chance to create fear in the other boxer, create the game plan that they want to do. They could dictate the fight, and we've seen Canelo Alvarez do that time in, time out in the boxing ring, start to cut off the ring, and I think Canelo Alvarez can do that, leaving no room for his opponent to capitalize or get back into the fight, being in control of the fight, I should say. But an example of this, he did a good job against Caleb Plant doing this. He started cutting off the ring against Caleb Plant. Caleb Plant was no longer aggressive. Caleb Plant was no longer walking down Canelo Alvarez during that fight. And it led to a late knockout victory for Canelo Alvarez when he fought Caleb Plant. So I think this could set up for a lot of success if he does this against Jermell Charlo, beginning to cut off the ring and start walking him down in that boxing ring. Second game plan, I think Canelo Alvarez has to be very patient. If he becomes too aggressive, he can get hurt by Jermell Charlo's power punches. Like I just said, Jermell Charlo packs a punch just like Canelo Alvarez, and he's going to have a lot more power moving from 154 up to 168 pounds. So he has to be very careful. He cannot take Jermell Charlo's power very likely, because it could get him in trouble and get him frustrated in this fight very early. So he has to be patient. He has to wait around for opportunities. The opportunities will be there for and when the opportunity comes, he has to capitalize on the opportunities that Jermell Charlo could potentially have if he makes mistakes against Canelo Alvarez. So I think if he could take advantage of Jermell Charlo's mistakes, he'll be just fine. And last but not least, counterpunching. I think Canelo Alvarez has to be on time. This comes into what I just said of being patient. If Canelo Alvarez can land some counter punches, that will be a good sign for this fight if Canelo Alvarez wants to walk out of the T-Mobile Arena still the undisputed champion at the super middleweight division. Jermell Charlo has a hard time of countering counter punches at times, and Canelo Alvarez is one of the best counter punchers in the sport of boxing today. It's one of the reasons why he's one of the best fighters that this sport has ever seen. And I think if he gets that counter punch game going, it could be a bad night in the office for Jermell Charlo. So, with that being said, if after everything I went through, game plans and everything, I am going with Canelo Alvarez to win this fight via knockout, and winning this fight in the 10th round to successfully retain his super middleweight titles at the super middleweight division. I expect Jermell Charlo to be up on the scorecards. I do believe that Jermell Charlo is going to get a head start. He's going to be dictating the pace of this fight. He's going to be up on the judges' scorecards in the first half of the fight. I do believe in the second half of the fight, Canelo Alvarez is going to turn it up a notch and land a knockout victory in the later rounds to successfully retain his titles. Jermell Charlo has the skill set to make this fight very interesting against Canelo Alvarez. You have two of the best fighters fighting in the world today in their own respective weight classes, in their own respective divisions. So I do believe that if Jermell Charlo gives Canelo Alvarez a hard-earned time, as I get tongue-tied, as if Jermell Charlo can create problems for Canelo Alvarez, I do believe he's going to be a long night in the office. And I do believe that Canelo, this could potentially be the biggest fight that he wins of his boxing career. I do believe that Canelo Alvarez will use his experience to cut off the ring and apply pressure against Jermell Charlo in the later rounds, leading to a knockout victory. Jermell Charlo, I do believe that he is taking this fight on a very high risk, a very high reward if you're successful. But I do believe that if climbing up 2 weight classes, you never experience any power that you're going to experience on Saturday night fighting Canelo Alvarez. Going from 154 to 168 is a big jump. There's 2 weight classes, and I do believe that Canelo Alvarez is going to capitalize on this, and I do believe that Canelo Alvarez is going to hurt Jermell Charlo in the later rounds, setting up for a 10th round knockout for Canelo Alvarez to successfully retain his undisputed super middleweight titles. But that is my fight prediction for this weekend's fight between Canelo Alvarez and Jermell Charlo.